Okay, so top of the morning to you, and a fine rest of the day to you as well. Today we're going to talk about accountability, responsibility and accountability for our actions. And there's an old axiom that I'm reminded of from Nietzsche. It says, my memory says that I've done this, but my pride says I could not have done this. Soon, my memory yields to my pride. So, in other words, we often recount things the way we like them to be in our minds because our pride gets in the way. It says I couldn't have done this, or I wouldn't have done this. And you know, there's a lot of things in my life that I'd like to take back if I could, you know, but there's no mulligans in life, there's no do-overs in a lot of instances. So if I could, let me fix this. Oh, there. If I could, there's a lot of things I would do over with the knowledge and experience I have now in a different way. I feel a little tight. Had a good arm routine this morning. It feels good. Feels good. It's the first time I've really truly drove heavy in a long time. You know, accountability for our actions is key to alpha meldom or femaledom. You know, you can garner the respect or fear of just about anybody who's a follower. But when it comes to the scope or the scale of alpha men or women, the only way you're going to earn that individual's respect is not with talk, it's not with, it's with action, it's with accountability. You know, complete ownership for your actions. Not abandoning your actions or your words, but standing by them. Taking ownership. Yeah, I did that. I own that. It was bad. I will resolve not to do it again. There's things looking back in my history. You know, somebody, I asked people to give me ideas of what they'd like to hear me talk about when I do these things. For the most part, they're all good. Everything's good, but somebody suggested that I tell more war stories. You know, I'm just not into that. I mean, it's not my thing. You know, I've got good nightmares to tell like anybody else out there doing this stuff. And the ones that I would tell are all real. There's no embellishment or fabrications thereof. They're the genuine article. Believe me, I've been up close and personal to see quite a few things happen. And you know, there's no sense in talking about that stuff. It's glorifying things or it's trying to give shock value. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, I do it sometimes for the purpose of the context of what I'm trying to teach, and that's about it. So we'll talk about this stuff a little bit more as we go along today. But right now, we're going to start doing our push-ups for day 8 of the 1776 push-ups challenge for the Wounded Warrior Project. It's kind of gone stagnant. Nobody's making any donations. I mean, hey, $5, folks. $5, $10, just, you know, I mean, I'm like, I don't know, 55 bucks to my goal or something like that. It doesn't have to stop there, but I'd like to at least, you know, get that done. I'd like to see that met. You know, remember, you're helping people. You're helping not just these warriors, which gave us our freedom to do and say what we want. You don't have to like the government. Guys know that I have no love for this government. It's a mess, and it's certainly not accountable to the people that put them in office. But you got to love the country, and you got to love our soldiers, our boys and girls who are going to defend our freedoms. If nothing else, we still have a First and a Second Amendment right left that is actually visible for everybody to see, and that's only because of the Second Amendment, because there are so many lawful gun owners in America. Without that, we wouldn't have anything. It'd be all gone. Every country in history, you see where they've disarmed the citizenry. Totalitarianism is followed. You know, dictatorships have followed. So, if you love your freedoms, thank these boys and girls that have come home injured, wounded, paying for your right to say all the things you say and do all the things you do. You know, show them your appreciation with a small donation. I'm going to go ahead and work down and do this first set here. That's 25. Seem to be a little tight quarters this morning. Make sure you hydrate when you're working out, folks. Hydrate. Hydration is key. So, I don't want to rail on like a broken record. I just want to bring the point home about accountability. You know, we have a lesson from ancient Greece about the Spartans. You know, there've been movies made, books like The Gates of Fire, you know, such like that. You know, what I'm talking about here is the Battle of Thermopylae, where, you know, they like to say 300, but it's really like 540 something with all their auxiliaries and everything. There's 540 something people against Xerxes' you know, thousands. And you know, the whole idea is that there was about 300 Spartans in that host right there, that every man was accountable for his role. Every man pulled his weight, no matter how injured, all the way to the end till he could fight no more. Every man pulled his weight, you know. I mean, it was a lost battle from the beginning, but they were there, they went there for that purpose, and they stuck to the commitment, they saw it through, but everybody pulling their own weight. Could you imagine what would happen in our society today if everybody just pulled their own weight? If everybody did what they said they would do? I mean, think about that for a minute. Wrap your mind around that. Can you imagine if everybody did what they said they would do? Honored their word. And everybody was accountable. People don't pass the buck or, who did this? I don't know. Or someone says, I did it. You know, better yet, you don't have to wait till somebody asks who did this. Say, hey, everybody, just want you to know that this is over here, this is broken or whatever, and I did it. I'll replace it as soon as I can. I'll try to fix it by the end of the day. But I just want you to know that it's broken and I did it. I'm accountable for that, and I'll fix it, or, you know, or whatever the case may be. Could you imagine what our society would look like? What Western society, period, would look like if we had men and women that lived like that honored their commitments, their words, their accountability for their actions, complete ownership. I mean, wouldn't that be something? You know, people watch shows like Vikings or Yellowstone or any number of shows, new, older ones, doesn't matter what they're. People watch these shows and they live vicariously through the characters in these shows. That's why all these shows are so popular. People live vicariously through them. And they like to think that they would live that way. Or, you know, but the thing is, they're not living that way. If you think that you would like to live that way, it's real simple to say, today I'm going to start living like that. Today, right here in the now. I'm going to be a person of such character. You know? But they don't. Instead, they'll sit on the couch with their bowl of popcorn or whatever gross caloric intake treats they might have, you know, and they'll just sit there and watch these programs and live vicariously through these characters. Thinking about, oh, I would have loved to have been alive in that day. Why would you love to have been alive in that day? You wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes being alive in that day. You do not possess the makeup or the character composition to have survived in the Viking Age. You know, there was no complaining. Oh, I don't feel good today, or I'm not going to do this today. There was none of that. You know, pull your weight or get the fuck off the boat. You know, that's what would have happened. You know, so you know, I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying society as a whole, Western society today. But you can be that person. You watching this right now, you can be that person. You can say today, no matter what you've done in your life, whatever mishaps you've had, whatever missteps you've made, you can stop everything right now, today, as you're watching this, as you're listening to me. You can stop today and say, I'm going to put this new foot forward, and I'm going to be accountable for my actions. I'm going to be the man or woman that people are not used to seeing in me, and they're going to start learning to see that, and they're going to respect that. Not because I say so, but because they can't help but watch my deeds in action and say, man, that's worthy of respect. Remember the other day, very few things warrant respect. Such actions like that warrant respect. If anybody has any respect for themselves, they're going to look at somebody like that and say, man, I think that person's changing their character. They're changing I can't help but respect that. I like that. That's how this starts. That's how the whole thing starts. So if you want to be about something, it ain't joining a gang or an organization or It ain't out beating somebody's ass or trying to be seen and heard as the loudest mouth in the room or the toughest guy. It's walking the walk, like Johnny Cash says, walking the line. You know, it's walking the line. You know, I walk the line with my eyes wide open, as the saying goes, because I wanted a chance at the board, whether I got it or not, because I owed that to my wife. I owed that to my family and friends, the people that supported me while I was incarcerated, doing a couple of life sentences there. Plus, I owed it to myself, and I owed it to them even more than myself, to try to make it to the parole board as soon as I knew I had a chance. So I walked the line. I became ultra accountable for my actions. If I already wasn't, I have been for years. I became ultra accountable. You know, I had a small crew of guys that I kept close and worked out with and mentored and learned from myself, whether they realized it or not. I learned just as much from them as they possibly learned from me. You know, but a lot of them watch this. I communicate with several of them, and they're out now. And so, you know, they know what I'm talking about. I give lectures. I mean, there would better never be, you get 2 strikes, not 3. There better never be a day where it's like, who did this? If I had to ask amongst these handful of men, who did this? Because they didn't just come forward and say, hey, I want everybody to know this happened and I'm responsible, but you know what, I'm going to clean it up, I'll make it right. That's the kind of men I mentor. And they weren't like that when they started with me. Maybe one of them was. They grew into these men. They grew into the character that they were capable of possessing, the individuals they were meant to be, that they were actually born to be. My men, they would have made it back in the Viking Age. They would have made it in the 1880s in the West, because they developed themselves. They started with one foot in front of the other. They eschewed drug and alcohol abuse, and they started cleaving to their breasts character traits such as honor, which is subjective. I understand that, but genuine honor is never subjective. They brought honor, they brought accountability, they brought peership. You know what it means to desire to have a peer that is your equal or better, that you can ascribe to you know, get to that level or surpass yourself. These are the things that you're capable of. You watching this today. Everybody's got a history. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday, good or bad. You'll be the hog of all hogs. That was yesterday. That's has-been shit. What are you doing today? What are you doing today? More importantly, what are you willing to do tomorrow? Not just for yourself, but in service of something higher to yourself, your family, your friends, your community, the organizations you belong to that serves society and community. What are you willing to do today and tomorrow to live that life? I'm trying to live amends towards such things. But my whole point in that is, it's not what you did yesterday. Not something good that you can rest on your laurels of a reputation, or not something bad. Like you've done something, you know, short of being a child molester or a rapo or some piece of shit cretin from society, short of being garbage. Whatever you've done yesterday is not so bad that you can't fix it starting today. Now, you may not find audience with the people that feel like you burned them or you spurned them, but with those that are your friends now, those that are your family now, yourself, your own personal headspace, you can start today, right now. You can say, hey, I'm going to change this foot in front first. I'm going to put this foot in front now. And I'm going to start this way, metaphorically speaking. I'm going to start walking this way. I'm going to walk the way I talk. If somebody hears this come out of my mouth, they're going to see my actions match that. That's what's going to happen. They're going to see a new me, because I will myself to be this new person. I will myself to be accountable for my actions, to have complete ownership thereof, and that I am going to better my character. If you only live 4 more days, you spent the last 4 days of your life making up for the shit that you did by living right, by living accountable, by being about something to somebody because of the way you lived your life those last 4 days. But you got more than 4 days, so, you know, take this opportunity today to reset. Hit the reset button. Bing! and start fucking doing something to make yourself shine like the star that you are, and like who you were meant to be, you know? You like the Viking Age stuff? You know, get in there and fucking adopt those Viking ethos. Not something that Hollywood tells you is the way it is. There's plenty of sagas you can read and you can see firsthand accounts about how things really were, you know? People like to think it's a free booting lifestyle and swilling meat through their beards and everything. That's Hollywood. That's bullshit. That's not real. Everybody was accountable for their place in the kindred, in the town, in the clan. Because if you weren't, you were held accountable for it. And let me tell you, they had some rude methods for punishment. You gotta get another set right here. So, I'm going to hydrate a little bit. And one of my dogs back there in the background saying, "Morning, Dad." Okay, so that's what I want to say today. You know, I don't want to beat it into your skull, but at the same time, I don't want you to soon forget it after you watch this. I want it to get stuck in your mind. I want you to sit there and ruminate upon it. I want you to think about what I'm saying. Not because I'm saying it, not because I certainly didn't invent the concept of this, but because this is what you want to hear, whether you realize it or not. If you're listening to it, it's because you want to hear it, because it's speaking to you here and here. I'm just the messenger. It's speaking to you here and here. You know inside there's a better person. There's a better person inside, waiting to become. And in Odinist terms, that's what Odinism is about. Being and becoming on a continuum. Self-transformation on a continuum. The Casper that I was yesterday died when I went to sleep last night and was reborn to start anew this morning and to be a better person than I was yesterday, no matter how good I was, to become a stronger, better me. Stronger here, here, and here. So, you know, I can't believe I'm going to be 62 on August 1st, man. I mean, it's just so crazy to me. I feel like I'm 25. And, man, I just feel so good. Better than the person my age has a right to feel. And I want to tell you something else about accountability. When I started mentoring other men and some women, I started becoming accountable to myself in a lot of ways that I never even realized I would become or knew that I had in me. And I did that because all of a sudden it occurred to me for the first time, like as if it wasn't all along, but it occurred to me for the first time at that point mentoring these people that my actions affected other people, as if they didn't always. But it occurred to me like an epiphany for the first time that, 30 years ago or so when I started mentoring so many people, I was, if I do this today, because I get mad and fly off the handle, it doesn't just affect me, it affects them too. And some of these people, you can read their comments when they comment, they tell you they were there with me. I mean, when they go through and do these cell searches, I mean, if you got a drug reputation, they tear your cells up, they tear your shit up. They go through there, spend 3-4 hours shit. All of my men, because of the way I walked, the way I lived my life in there, and if I pull somebody to me, they knew that they were on that page too. They'd be in and out of our cells when they do cell searches. That's respect. That's a reputation for doing something right. And I even have some guards and a captain or two here that say, "Hey, this guy just drove up off the bus. He was an ad sig. He's out here now. He's coming out today. I think he follows your path, but whether he does or not, I'd like you to fucking at least give him a look and see if there might be something there you could take an interest in mentoring. This guy's got something that can be honed and polished, and he can get out of the joint and never come back. Would you do that for me?" I said, I'll talk to him. I'll give him a look. And sure enough, some of these things panned out really good. And a lot of these guys that are out there now. I mean, this one kid, he's out there now. He's owned trucks. He didn't even know what he wanted to do with his life. And we had a conversation. He's a third strike candidate. you know, he was never going to get out of the joint. He fucked off his date numerous times. You know, his dad said, "Hey, hey brother, could you talk to my son? Could you get him right?" So I did, and I said, "What do you want to do with your life, man? You want to spend the rest of your life in here?" He said, "No." I said, "What do you want to do?" Because I don't know. I said, "Well, you think about what you want to do. You think about what you want to do, and don't tell me now. You know, think about it. You come back and tell me, and you tell me what you want to do, and we'll start making that happen within here. So when you hit the gate, you can actually, you know, affect that reality." And so he decided he wanted to be a truck driver. He ended up owning trucks. And he's had his little back steps and his slips and falls, but he's up. He's still out there. You know, he's owned a couple of trucks. You know, tractor trailers. I mean, he's doing good. You know, and he's out there now, still living life, not back in the joint. That's a success in my book. You know, people like to pat me on the back for shit like that. Don't pat me on the back. Pat them on the back. I didn't do that. All I did was talk to them, like I'm talking to you, showing you what you're capable of. This is what you are capable of. Believe you me, the Casper you see before you is not the Casper who earned a reputation amongst friends and foes, and my haters as well. It doesn't matter. You can't deny who I was or what I was. You know, you can't deny the kind of things that I did, the kind of pain I inflicted. I can't deny it. It hurts me. It's demons that I have to sleep with every night, lose sleep over, and have nightmares over. But that guy, that monster, that terror, was not who I am today. And somebody showed me what I was capable of. They told me, hey, you don't have to be this guy. You know, people fear you. They don't respect you. Don't confuse it. Don't get your head big and think that, yeah, that's right. See when people look at me and get out of my way and I walk by, 5'7", 235 pounds. I'm a sawed-off motherfucker. They get out of my way, these giants. Listen, you're impressed with that? You're impressed by that? That's not respect. That's fear. Somebody who fears you will stab you in the back. First chance they get because they're afraid. Somebody who respects you, they'll just keep their mouth shut no matter what it costs them because they have such respect for you. There's a difference in respect and fear. I'd rather be respected any day of the week than feared. I'd rather be respected by my loved ones, by my neighbors, by my community, by local law enforcement, by the kids in the neighborhood, by my friends. I'd rather be respected any day. Not only would I rather be respected, I covet to be respected. I desire to be respected as opposed to being feared. You know? I had such a hard time growing up. I was such a little kid. I mean, kids 2 grades below me were as bigger than I was. I got bullied a lot. My mom, you know, I was not big enough for big sports for my age and stuff because I was so small. I mean, the day I enlisted in the Army and actually took off, I was like 5'4" and 107 pounds. And my wife was looking at my indoctrination papers and she couldn't believe it. She said, "Hey, you're 107 pounds." I said, "Yeah." You know, a far cry from the man I've developed into. But the whole thing is, I got bullied as a kid. And my mom put me into martial science classes and stuff, martial arts. And so, you know, I started off like everybody else that does that with, you know, Taekwondo for an American instructor. But I developed through years and years of martial disciplines of different styles, so many different styles. You know, Japanese, Chinese, you know, just numerous Asian styles as well as old Irish styles, you know, Greece, ancient Greece, you know, Krav Maga, anything I could get my hands on that could develop not just my physical being or my skill set, but my mind. Meditation, you know. Herein lies the impetus and the catalyst for the agent change with me that made me accountable for my actions, made me want to take extreme ownership for the things that I'd done. This was the beginning of it for me. You know, and it was always attended. Any of the martial disciplines that I studied, whether it was through a class, a big dojo, you know, a personal guy in his garage with 5 or 6 students. I've had some good teachers along the way. Let me tell you, some really good teachers. But they try to put that into your head even back then, you know, because it's integral. It's part of the training. But when you're a young man trying to be somebody and just trying to start kicking ass back, instead of getting your ass kicked by 3 and 4 people at a time, you know, and then you see the effect of that. You see that you stood up to 3 or 4 people, and I mean, you came away the better, and you're chasing them down the street now. I mean, it goes to your head. You know, people start calling you the giant slayer. You get all these reputations and things, and you start believing this shit. You start, you know, just pulling that. You're like, yeah, that's right. That's who I am now, because you're making up for all the shit and the pain that you went through. And I was in special classes as a kid. I was not a good student. I was dyslexic, had ADD, ADHD. You know, I presented with Tourette's syndromes because of the Ritalin and the Adderall and the Tofranil and all the friggin' drugs that I had to take. You know, they had these side effects that nobody understood back then. And, you know, so I was ostracized. You know, it didn't matter what kind of athleticism I possessed, if I possessed any at all in certain sports. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. I was a spaz case, I was all over the place, and I was a black sheep. So now I'm being ostracized because I'm in these classes, these EH classes, with all these troubled kids, and you know, it leads you from one thing to another. Next thing you know, you're running around town with the people that are undesirable to everybody else, but they're very desirable to you. Not just because they accept you or because they have a bad reputation, but because these people actually were the ones telling me all along, you need to not think like this, but you need to think like this. You need to think about your future, not just out here wrenching on motorcycles all day and riding them around, you know, and you know, with your hair on fire. You just need to think about your future. You know, one day you're going to have a family. You're going to want to have a career, an occupation. So it's a misnomer to think that the outlaw communities are just full of a bunch of thuggish, you know, brutes that don't have any agenda towards anything positive. That's not true. There was an old saying in the biker community: when we do something good, it's forgotten quick. When we do something bad, it's never forgotten. And I used to hear that when I was younger, and it seemed to be true, you know. There's always bad and good in every element, you know. But a lot of this thinking came from these kinds of people. And my dad was a good old-fashioned Midwestern farm boy, and no hidden agenda. What you see is what you get. You know, enlisted, you know, right after you turned 16, the day after Pearl Harbor happened. You know, I became a Navy frogman. You know, he did like 20 plus years in the Navy, and then he cut meat for another 20 years. Always brought his paycheck home to his family, put food on the table, roof over the head. You know, gave us an upper middle class Orange County, you know, good life. You know, and he was always telling me, and I thought I was going in one ear and out the other, even though he was my best friend and I loved him and I respected him. You know, everything my mom and dad said went in one ear and out the other. I had to learn how to be the bad person that I was, because that's not the way I was raised. And when I got away from that and I walked away from that life, all of a sudden everything that they've been saying to me, all that I thought was going in and out, is starting to echo really loud in my head. And it was resonating in my actions, in my person, in my thinking, my ideology. And I realized that it had always been there, and that once I got away from being bad, I reverted back to who I was raised to be and who I was born to be. Actually a good person, a good human being, a good man, somebody who looks after other people as well, tries to help them out. And, you know, so, you know, I'm getting long-winded, but I digress. I'm bringing it back to the point of what I was saying. You know, today's the day. Tell yourself, today is the day. Today's the day I'm going to change who I am. If I'm already good, you know, how can I make myself better? How can I make myself better? You can always improve. There's always room for self-improvement, always. I lost count of my push-ups. I think that was 75, so here's the last set right here. Okay, that's 100. I'm going to call that a day. I want to say first and foremost, thank you for donations to the Wounded Warrior Project, those of you who donated. Those of you who donated to my personal account, I can't thank you enough on behalf of Linda and I. You know, I couldn't even afford to put gas in my truck. The money that I got from somebody yesterday, I'm going to be able to put gas in my truck. You know, it's a diesel. Who would have ever thought a biofuel would be so expensive in California? I mean, who are these leaders that are running our state? Anyway, please donate to the Wounded Warrior Project. You know, your donation money is obviously good, but you don't have to donate money. Sometimes donating your time, your help, your service at their warehouses, or you know, call somebody up. You know, call up Catholic Charities, even call up whoever. You know, put some kind of service into the community in which you live. Give to the community, and when you need the community will be there for you. That's my lesson for the day. Accountability, self-respect will lead to others respecting you and seeing that you're accountable for your actions. And if you like what I'm doing here, I guess you're supposed to hit the like button. So hit the like button, and subscribe. And once my push-up challenge is over, I'm going to keep doing this. We'll keep having these talks in the morning. I'll take it with me when I go places, and we'll just continue this, because it's therapeutic for me, and I guess it is helping some people out there. So more than anything, I'm overwhelmed by that knowledge that I'm helping somebody else help themselves. That's who I was born to be, I guess, and that's what I'm going to do. As long as the gods give me the breath to draw every day, until the gods gather me up to them, I will do that. Until then, this is Dr. Casper Rhodes-Cruel, wishing you all the best day that you could possibly have. And remember, if you want to see change in your life, you got to be that change. So, Od Medos, and have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.